Good evening, everyone. I'm Tim Ryan, and welcome to our CBS Sports continuing coverage of the 1991 U.S. Open. I'm joined, as usual, by Mary Carrillo, our CBS Sports tennis analyst. And Mary, a full day of tennis, lots of big-name players, but the only thing people are talking about all day long, James Scott Connors. What do you say about this? It's less than 24 hours ago we were right here calling it.
It still seems like the only thing worth talking about a day later, Tim. It was really a remarkable match. I watch an awful lot of tennis all year long, and my two favorite matches this year have both involved this Connors guy. The Chang match in Paris and this one last night. He is the only player I can imagine who can turn a first-round match into something that feels more like the heavyweight championship of the world.
A good description. Well, the first person to speak with Jimmy Connors after the match was Andrea Joyce. And Andrea, I know you've been following this story all day long.
And I would not have missed that match last night for anything. You know, last night we referred to this as tennis theater. And when it comes to this big off-Broadway stage, nobody is more marquee than Jimmy Connors.
Jimmy Connors he is New York.
Jimmy's the ultimate warrior. You know, if I was ever in a street fight, I'd want Jimmy Connors on my team.
The main thing I'll remember is it was the hardest crowd I've ever tried to control.
The crowd was unbelievable. It just felt like you were lifted up into the sky.
They've always seemed to bring out the best in me and the best tennis that I have to offer. And if I can still do that, I'm going to be 39, so if I can still do that, it's pretty much fun.
Jimmy Connors is the U.S. Open's longest-running act. 21 years of gutsy, dramatic moments.
He was baying at the moon. He was pumping himself, all those wonderful melodramas. And people seem to think, here you went from the proper West Side Tennis Club to these courts, which were really the mean green sidewalk tennis courts, and it seemed to be Jimmy's place.
The best matches I've ever seen have always involved Jimmy Connors. He's just phenomenal. I think when he leaves the game will be at a loss.
He gets everybody a little bit excited, riled up. You remember when, he remembers when, he's out there to get it.
They've really watched me grow up and watched me make a change over the course of the years. And if they like it and they enjoy what they still see, then that's even better.
Age betrayed Connors at the French Open this year when he was forced to retire in the fifth set against Michael Chang. But last night, Connors turned back the clock.
I think the main reason I do it right now, if I had to say one thing to you, is that I love to compete, and I love to compete against guys that are half my age.
On just day 3, Jimmy Connors is the star of the show here, and everybody knows it. Stick around, folks. Last night was just Act 1.
What a day. Good seeing you. Good see you.
Thank you, Jimmy. By the time the match was over last night, or early this morning, I should say, there were only about 6,000 people left in the stands. But, you know, I have a feeling that this will end up being a little bit like Woodstock. You know, as the years go by, more and more people will say, yeah, I was there, because everybody wants to be a part of it.
Well, we saw in your piece, he practiced this afternoon. I spoke to him about noon, and he said, I've been up for about an hour. I'm on my way out there. What was he like today?
Well, let's just say that he was plenty glad he didn't have to play today. He's stiff, he's a little bit sore, he said, but he's got a whole full day tomorrow to recuperate, and he doesn't play until late tomorrow, so that gives him a few extra hours then.
Well, speaking of late tomorrow, Mary, that match began, the Connors match last night, after 9 o'clock. And tonight, there's a men's match that started after 10 o'clock. These late starts early in the tournament must play some kind of a role in terms of the outcome of the matches.
Well, it's a pity that, as Andrea said, a lot of the fans had to leave because of the lateness of the hour. That happens at the U.S. Open. The other Grand Slams don't have those night matches. But as far as I'm concerned, it really helps a guy like Jimmy Connors. He doesn't want to play in the heat. It's been awfully hot the first couple of days of the U.S. Open. It can hurt players who have to come back the next day and are involved in the doubles. But for my money, I mean, a night match, I love these night matches. I think they're great.
Well, I think the fans do, too, because even though there were only 6,000 left, the others had to get up and go to work this morning. Nonetheless, they want to be there, and they hope it goes as long as it possibly can.
And as Andrea made a good point, it's not going to be 6,000. In the years to come, there's going to be 140 million people who said they were there. They saw Connors, they saw James Brown at the Apollo, they were at Woodstock. And that's just what happened.
That's right.
All right. Well, still ahead on this busy night 3, the other McEnroe, John, La Bella Gabriella, and a harmonic Monica. As the U.S. outing a success as he took on Jeff Tarango of Manhattan Beach, California on the stadium court. Edberg with a set in hand, 6-3 here in the second, serving at love 1.
Stefan had only lost 3 points on his serve in that first set, but in the second set, Tarango really started to challenge it. He stepped up closer to the line and started ripping them, and that's why Edberg got himself in trouble in set 2.
Tarango took a 4-1 lead in the second set, but Edberg then started to grind it back and made winning volleys like that, a good overhead backhand.
And Tarango was facing a much better player from round 1. Stefan looked much more eager and aggressive today. And he had 11 service aces, and that's a lot for Edberg. You think of him as a big server, but in fact, he normally doesn't have that many in one match because he serves and volleys.
Winning the second set from behind at 7-5, and now in the third, it was all Edberg. A somewhat discouraged Tarango having to deal with that serve on match point right at him, and Edberg advances 6-3, 7-5, and 6-love, handily into the third round. And grateful to be there. And as usual, a lot of Edberg fans, many young ones on hand. And it seems here at the U.S. Open, the players have to take extra stuff in their bags just to keep the fans happy. They sign autographs and throw articles of clothing, and Edberg threw out the towel instead of throwing it in today. Well, Michael Chang didn't have to throw in the towel either over on the grandstand court. He took on Todd Witzkin and continued to show some fine, consistent play, up 2-1 here in the first set.
Chang really looked good today, too. His form has steadily improved this summer. He really had slumped all summer long. And now, after a brief rain delay, he made quick work of what could be a dangerous player in Todd Witzkin.
Chang up 3-love here in the second set. And went on to win it handily, 6-3, 6-love, and 6-2. Michael Chang has not only been consistent in his first 2 matches, but he's showing a little more aggressiveness to the extent that he's taking a short ball, knocking it deep, and then staying in there to volley.
I think that's why he's only lost 10 games in 6 sets, Tim. He really is trying to work on that more. His new coach now is his brother Carl, and Carl knows that though he's not a big, physically imposing man, he's got to take it to his opponents a lot quicker in a point.
It seems to be fitting him so far. We'll see what happens in the next round. Next for Michael Chang is John McEnroe, and he was among the other tennis insomniacs who stayed up until 1:30 in the morning to watch Jimmy Connors snatch victory from John's brother Patrick.
I started watching, and Patrick was playing so great, and at 3-love in the third, I sort of got myself mentally ready, got my clothes and everything ready, and took a shower and prepared to go to sleep, sort of turned it back on when CBS came on, and all of a sudden it was 4-3, I think, for Connors in the third, and then it was just, I just couldn't stop watching it.
Well, it didn't seem to bother John that he didn't get a full night's sleep in his action today against Martin Laurando. Up 1-love here in the first set. Showed some solid, consistent play against the Canadian. Taking command at the net and taking the first set, 6-3.
He really did look quite good, and he was able to do pretty much what he wanted all match long, because this is the second qualifier in a row he's had to play at the Open. Gave him some room to get his game in order.
Very few John McEnroe matches go by without some kind of confrontation with an umpire or linesman.
Code violation, audible obscenity, warning, Mr. McEnroe.
I was talking to myself, come on. I was talking to myself. This no goes with my family. They understand that I curse every now and then. God almighty, give me a break, will you? What kind of umpiring are you? There's no way that you should be...
Well, what we learned here is that John has an understanding family. Up 5-4 now in the second set. Really starts to move Laurando around as Laurando tried to take the net. But that's McEnroe territory. And when he gets pumped up, it usually fires him up. He won that set 6-4. In the third, McEnroe was very much at home.
He really was looking good. I think he moved very well today. He hit crisply off the ground. He got himself in a little bit of trouble on his serve in the second and third sets, and he's going to have to watch for that. But everywhere else on the court, I thought he looked very sharp today.
Up 5-2 now in the third and in command. Serving. So McEnroe gets the match point. And with a good serve, 6-3, 6-4, 6-2, and we talked to him about facing Michael Chang.
6-4, 6-2.
Chang's a great counter-puncher. I got to attack his second serve and make him pay the price for a short serve, and if he hits a short ball, hit a clean shot and attack, and then be firm with the volley. If I do that well, I should beat him, but he's going to fight for every point.
Well, when you look at the draw, Mary, you see he's in tough straits here. He's got Chang next, and if he wins it, he gets Edberg.
Yeah, in the round of 16.
That's assuming a victory by Eddie over Grab. We have to assume that, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Well, as far as the Chang match goes, we really have to stare at that match first. They've played 4 times. McEnroe has only lost 1 set in the 4 matches that they have played. But I really feel like he still has some focus problems, Tim, and he can't let his serve drop down. His second and third sets today, he was serving at about 40%. Can't do that against Michael Chang.
No, that's for sure. Well, elsewhere among the seeded men, number 3, Michael Steek advanced as Jimmy Brown defaulted due to severe dehydration in his match yesterday. Number 5, Ivan Lendl advanced in straight sets, but number 7, Guy Forget, my dark horse in this tournament, was upset in 4. Number 9, Sergei Bruguera was ousted by fellow Spaniard Javier Sanchez. The women's story is next when we continue from Flushing Meadows, Corona Park, New York, in a moment.